Hello everyone, welcome and welcome back to my channel. In today's video, I am sharing with you how I was able to convert and transform these instant locks into these beautiful lock extensions using two different methods of installation to make them look as natural as possible. So if you're interested, please keep on watching. Okay, so here I am on the instant locks. I am about to start forming the lock extensions, and this is a video that I put out a couple weeks ago. If you've not yet seen the video, be sure to check it out, where I did show you how I went ahead installing instant locks, and then that was the first step of the process. So now we're moving on to the next step of the process, which is actually forming and installing the lock extensions. Here I'm showing you the hair that I'm using. I did order this hair from Macon Styles, and I want to say this time around, I think the order and the packs were much smaller than I remember them being, because I had to go back and reorder more here. I think I ordered the bulk set, I believe. I don't recall at this point, but I do remember them being much smaller than when I first ordered. So I did have to go and reorder some here. I didn't order from Macon Styles. I ordered one order, I believe, from Macon Styles, and when it came and I realized it was not enough, I went ahead and ordered the rest from Amazon. But here I showed you that I sectioned a little bit of hair. I don't need much to start. I sectioned off a little bit of hair and I placed that on the instant lock, and I am just meshing the two together. So that's how I am forming the lock extensions on the instant lock. So it is instant lock extensions, which means they're being formed instantly rather than having made them previously and attaching. But I used a small section of hair, attached it to the instant lock, and just use my 3-prong needle to give a rough structure. The same principles apply here. Even if you're doing it instantly, you just want to make sure you give the lock a basic structure and form to start with. So I'm using my 3-prong needle to go ahead and mesh the hair and form the lock, and I'm just going to keep doing that for the length of the hair. As I go along, I add more hair as needed to keep the thickness consistent, and I'm just going to keep adding hair to form the length of the lock and the thickness of the lock. So again, I'm pulling off another piece of hair, and I'm just gonna keep adding it on to where I stopped, a little bit higher than where I stopped, and keep meshing those together to continue adding length to the lock. I want to say the length of the locks that we formed were maybe between 8 to 10 inches in length. I want to say that's the length of the locks. After we formed them, I believe it was about 10 inches long. So as you can see here, I've just gone in and keep adding and forming the structure and the foundation of the lock. And then when I reach to the end of the lock, to give it that rounded effect, I just pretty much bend the hair, form it into a ball, and then start meshing the hairs. Okay, so now that I have the structure down, I now go back in and tighten the lock, because at that point it's soft. I just did the structure and the foundation. So then I go in with my 2-prong needle, and then I am tightening and meshing the hairs together to make a tighter, more firm lock. And I'm just going to do that back from the roots all the way down the length of the lock. So now that I have finished firming up the lock, as you can see, I'm taking some more hair and I'm gonna go back in, because after you've tightened up and firmed up the lock, you will realize that you might have a few thin spots in the lock. So you definitely want to go back and restructure those areas and give them more hair to add to the thickness and the firmness of the lock. You don't want to leave thin spots in the lock because it may break eventually. So I go back in after I've firmed up the lock. I go back in and add little pieces of hair in areas where I feel like the lock is either too soft or it's too thin, so that it gets firmer. Now I will say this process does take a while. It took us a few days to complete this entire process from start to finish. One, because I had to stop and order hair, so that took a while. But the whole process of forming the extensions, like doing instant lock extension, that takes a while. But after I've finished installing the lock, I do go ahead and palm roll it between my palms, and as you can see, that's what it looks like. So I'm gonna keep doing that, and I'm gonna be back. So here I am after I've installed a few of the locks using the instant lock method. Again, I think at this point we probably were on day 2 at this point, and at that point, although it looked pretty good, my fingers were sore, I was tired, and it was taking such a long time that I decided to stop at that point and instead form the locks before I install them. So I have a video on how I go about actually making the lock extensions to attach them. So that's the process I decided to go ahead with. But as you can see here, the hair looks pretty seamless from root into the lock extensions. It's a pretty seamless process. And as I mentioned earlier, I decided to stop and form the locks beforehand and then go ahead and attach the lock extensions. So that is what I'm showing you here. I was just about to install one of the locks that I had already formed ahead of time and go ahead and install them. So I've just included just a pretty short clip of me doing that here, but if you want a more detailed video on how I actually form the locks and install the locks, definitely go ahead and check it out. It will be linked, so you can go ahead and check that out. Okay, so now here we are with all the locks fully installed. As you can see, she had, again, when I made that video with the instant lock, she did have some breakage at the back of her hair. So this is the locks installed with all of that hair, and this is another clip after we actually went in and cut the back of her head. I didn't clip that, I just did that really quickly, so I didn't really record that. But I just shaved her hair at the back with, she was experiencing breakage. I just shaved that down really low. And I'm putting her hair up in a band because now it's time to twist and style. And for her style, I decided to do a quick style of twist, so like two-strand twist. But here I am showing you, I didn't want to show you, well, I had a clip of me doing the back, but it wasn't in focus. So here I am showing you the process. I'm using 4 locks at a time to do the twist, and I spritzed her hair with some aloe vera water or aloe vera juice. I oiled her scalp with a homemade oil mixture, and then I am just parting the sections really neatly and retwisting her hair. And I used 4 locks because 2 locks would have made the twist too small, so I decided to use 4 locks for the two-strand twist. Here I've just included a close-up of the process of me doing the two-strand twist. So I take 2 locks and twist them around each other to maintain the twisted roots so that the roots do not become undone. And then I twist the 2 onto the next to form the two-strand twist. I hope that makes sense, but as you can see, it's pretty straightforward as shown in the clip. After I've installed the two-strand twist, I secure the end by rubber bands, and this is what the hair looks like. This is the finished product with just the two-strand twists. And like I said, I went ahead and decided to take it a step further and give her a style with half up, half down. So I am just sharing her hair in half from ear to ear, and then putting the top part in a band and just really folding the twist in on itself, like pushing it underneath the band to secure it and secure it further with bobby pins. For the back, she didn't want it just hanging loose, so I decided to just go ahead and also put those in a band so it would, you know, allow for some coverage of the shaved undercut. And this is what the hair looks like, the final product. I spruce it up just a little bit further by adding some pearl beads to the bobby pins, and this is what it looks like. Thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you did, definitely go ahead, give it a thumbs up, subscribe if you haven't already, and don't forget to turn on the post notifications so you never miss another upload from me. I'll see you guys next time, but until then, remember to be blessed and live life unapologetically. Bye guys.